Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Working on this Subaru STi. This is the perfect vehicle here to make a short mini series. And this is where I can show you how to team up the right pads with the right polishes for the right situation. This is soft, thin clear coat, and it's heavily swirled. A lot of love marks. I believe most of these came from a tunnel car wash as usual. So what we're going to do is we're going to take sections of this vehicle, turn them into test spots, and I'm going to show you exactly what works on this vehicle to get around the car in one step. You don't want to do multiple steps on a vehicle with a clear coat this thin, this soft. You want to try and have a balance of removing as much as you can without shaving down the clear coat so far where it really interferes with the way the clear coat can protect the base coat and keep it nice and bright red and rich. So this is what we're working with. Under the shop lights, which are not forgiving at all, you can see the type of love marks and swirling we have to work with, significant. And we're going to turn that around today. There are many fine one-step polishes available, and there are also correction fluids that may be disguised under a different title, maybe a medium polish or a medium grade abrasive. That can also be used effectively in one-step situations. We're going to take a look at some of those today and see which one of those works best with the right pad to remove imperfections from this type of a finish in a crisscross pattern, which is equal to 2 passes. Then we can move along, doing the correction, hardly removing any clear coat at all, and making massive strides when it comes to turning this finish around. First, let's take some gloss unit measurements and then also paint depth measurements. As you can see, the heavy love mark and swirling on the finish really hinders or stunts the gloss and reflection that's given off of this finish. And some of the most worn areas on this finish, we're barely getting out of the mid 70s. So there's a ton of room to turn this finish around. And as always, when the car leaves, we're aiming for triple digits. When it comes to paint depth readings, anywhere from 3.8 to 4.5, 4.7, very thin, very soft. And keep in mind, that's all 3 layers: primer, base coat, clear coat. That's not just the clear coat, which should be around 2 mils for proper protection over top of that gorgeous base coat. My guess is we're barely getting 1.5 mils. Okay, let me mask off a few areas and we'll get this show started. Okay, the first team or combination, we're going to grab 3D1 and the Lake Country CCS pads. These pads are very unique in the little circles you see in the pad there. Some of those cells are closed, and then the pockets actually help to spread out the polish or your compounds as you're working it. Really effective pads for one steps and cutting and finishing, actually. All right, let's take this section here. We can see what we have, heavy swirling and love marks. Let's get a couple drops of the 3D1 on the pad and get to work. We're going to use 2 passes equal to crisscross pattern, up and down, and then left to right. So, by the way, the CCS on the Lake Country pad stands for collapsed cell structures. And these little pockets are actually like strategically placed on the pad, on the locations of the pad. And that's where the foam cells have been closed off. The polish can't absorb into the pockets, and it leaves more product on the pad to be worked onto the surface of the paint. Really unique and effective. And by the way, because there are pockets throughout the pad, that means a little bit less friction, a little bit less heat. And you know how I feel about applying heat to the surface of a panel. Also, the white CCS pads are kind of heavy polishing pads right under the cut pad, which is normally orange in most lines. All right, we removed the residue. Let me grab you guys and bring you in closer, and you're actually going to see a huge difference between the area, the test area we just worked, and the surrounding panel. We removed a lot of the imperfections. There are still quite a few there, but this would be great as an enhancement. So those of you maybe just cleaning cars right now, inside and out, and want to expand your services, you can do enhancements, and this would be a great team, that product and that pad. Okay, let's move along to the next combination. We'll keep 3D1 in the lineup here, but switch pads, and we'll go to the Lake Country CCS orange pad, which is a light cutting pad. By the way, if you're wondering why I pulled out the polishes and pads that you're seeing here today, you're going to get to a certain point when you get some experience behind you that when a car pulls in the driveway and you get a glimpse of the imperfections that are on it, you're automatically going to get a combination of two or three teams that would work best for that situation. And it'll come to you guys, believe me, just a little bit of experience working on some of these cars, and you'll get an idea of what to use very quickly. By the way, running the polisher as usual, an everyday occurrence at the shop here. The polishers are run between the third and fourth speed setting. We're going to be using correction speed, 1 inch every second or two. And for most of the time, when I can reach the polisher properly, I'm going to have my hand cupped to the side of the polisher with just my thumb putting pressure down on it. That's done on purpose. The thumb can only apply so much pressure, and that really cuts down on the friction that you're causing between the pad and the finish, and you're also keeping heat under control as well. With the residue removed, bringing you in closer for a better look using the shop light, you'll see this team worked a lot better, and it's almost the perfect balance. The only thing really left on the hood is the pitting from rock chips, which it has heavily on the front here to begin with, and we can't do nothing about that. So we're only after the love marks and the scratching, and that's exactly what we did here. Very, very impressive improvement. We have one section left, however. We are going to try another team, and this I already can picture will be a little bit too aggressive, but the Eurofiber 50/50 pad. For those of you new to the channel, I use this pad almost every day. It does an excellent job on most finishes, depending on what we're after. It works the best on medium and hard surfaces. A little bit too aggressive for soft clear coat like this, but we could use it for the cutting process. The black and white fibers, a 50/50 blend on the pad, they do serve a purpose. They show which fibers are cutting and which fibers are finishing. There's a 50/50 blend of cutting and finishing fibers, and it does a great job for one-step jobs like this. Now, on a soft clear coat, such as this, a thin soft clear coat, it could leave some marring and hazing left behind, as it is a bit too aggressive. Okay, so this did a decent job. Well, of course, it's going to remove the imperfections a little bit better than the last pad as it is more aggressive. However, I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up. There's just a little bit of hazing. It's not clear like the other two panels are because the fibers are just, they have a little bit too much bite to them. And hopefully that will show up. I will get the gloss meter out and that should show exactly what I'm talking about. Starting in the mid 70s and low 80s, let's see how we've turned this finish around now. And that's before protection. We're already in the mid 90s. So we're on pace of getting those triple digit readings. Just need to finish up a little bit. As you can see, this last panel, the gloss dropped off just a little bit as there's a little bit of hazing because the fibers were too aggressive on softer clears. And it should be quite obvious that the middle section where we use the orange Lake Country CCS pad, that's going to be the best situation, the best team, best combination to get around this Subaru. Hardly any measurable clear coat removed from the first two sections and just a few microns or a tenth of a mil removed from the last section. And just to remind you, we should be getting 2 mils, which is just this thick. We're removing imperfections from a surface this thin or thick, however you want to look at it. And we're just not getting a lot of clear coat from the manufacturer. So a one step is perfect for this vehicle, and I'm going to continue on. And when that's done, we'll see a huge turnaround on the surface of this vehicle. Looking great. The color is going to pop. The red colors on this type of vehicle are going to stand out. And when we get the coating and protection on here, we'll do so even more. So in conclusion, what I wanted to show you and the point of the first video of this series is you're not limited when we talk about a one-step. If you find the perfect combination pad and polish or correction fluid, you can make that finish look incredible. Brian from Apex Detail, thank you for stopping by. Catch you in the next video.